Isekai, or in English, a different world, is a theme that really swarms the entire anime, manga, and light novel media for the past decade now. The theme different world, or another world, is not uncommon in literature or even Western media. Books and movies like The Chronicles of Narnia, Alice in Wonderland, or my favorite childhood cartoon, Chalk Zone, are by technicality themed as an isekai because it's an adventure to a different world. In Japan, the different world theme is also not uncommon. Inuyasha, Spirited Away, or even Digimon is technically an isekai. Now, why nowadays the term isekai is pretty much frowned upon, meme, or even not being taken seriously? Let's go back to where it started. Sword Art Online, the anime where Western fans start calling an another world themed anime an isekai. People are either love or hate Sword Art Online. I personally think this anime is one of the good entry-level anime for new anime watchers. It has fantasy, it has action, and even it has fan service that people like. But it also has the power fantasy, the predictable tropes, and sometimes the weirdness that people don't like. Sword Art Online is like the singularity of what people like and hate about anime. I know what you're gonna say, but Sword Art Online is not an isekai because the real them still exists in the real world. To that, I say that you're wrong.
It's false.
Isekai means different world. Whether the displacement of worlds is virtual, spiritual, celestial, or physical, the adventure still lies within that other world. So even if Kirito is a vegetable in the real world, he faces hardship and conflicts in another world, which makes it an isekai. Okay, after that out of the way, why is Sword Art Online the start of this massive surge of other isekai popping up right after them in the long future? Sword Art Online is very popular in Japan during its time. And what's not to like with Sword Art Online? The edgy That's So Me character, a collection of waifus, amazing soundtrack, and a video game theme that makes gamers feel less oppressed.
Gamers.
And with popularity comes with success. Movies, merch, video games, cosplays, Sword Art Online is just everywhere. And because of that, people will start to follow that path of success. Sword Art Online might be the start of it all. But this next isekai I want to talk about is the actual nail in coffin that makes the word isekai perceived with a lot of meaning nowadays. And that anime is No Game No Life. The title have game in it, but it's not a virtual game isekai. It's an actual teleportation to another world isekai. This anime is so popular in Japan and in the West. The anime is visually stunning. The story and world building is amazing. No Game No Life bring us a lot to enjoy. The series really mixes the fantasy and the modern knowledge of these two gamers. And that mix really sells it because you expand the creativity of fantasy with the knowledge and reference of the real world. Fighting magic with strategies, using tricks that even magic can even detect, that sort of thing. It makes the blend of real world and fantasy feel so fun and enjoyable. No Game No Life proved that the isekai trope can really sell well. And for a while, there are many great isekai shows that come out in the next years, especially in 2016, where Re:Zero really sells the thriller genre for isekais and Konosuba for the comedy. And once again, these two shows become really popular and successful as well, getting movies and stuff. It really printed that many people will love the isekai trope if done correctly. After Sword Art Online, every year there is always an adaptation of isekai animes. Some were bangers, some were mediocre, and some were downright bad. And over the years, the numbers of isekai series is significantly rising, and even worse in the light novel and web novel space. The amount of isekai popularity got so bad that the fantasy genre is somewhat replaced by isekais, even though isekais embraces fantasy. The lines between true fantasy and isekais now became blurry. power fantasy became a thing for isekais. Reincarnation became a staple for isekais. Time travel are now being argued whether it counts as an isekai or not. It's so bad that there are pure fantasy animes that are trying to be like an isekai. And the methods of teleporting became so lazy over the years as well, where most of it is just, oh, the main character died, now he's in another world. Or the kingdom used summoning circles to summon heroes. Not that those scenarios doesn't exist before, but nowadays the method of teleportation seems like a fluff in the storyline because they just want to write a fantasy adventure. But the main character is from Earth, so they don't have to write a unique personality for the character, and to just write them with the usual Japanese personality and desires. Back then, the characters in another world is considered to be an alien in their world. Like Saito in Familiar of Zero is just in an accidental summoning scenario, and he always have the desire to be back home or curious how to go back home. But with a lot of emotional bonding, he accepts to live in the other world with Louise. But nowadays, the main characters are just giving up on going back to their original world, or rather don't want to anymore because of reasons like being a sack of shit in society, or treated like a sack of shit in society, or going back was never an option because they died. It really makes that there is no another world to begin with. It basically became just a fantasy story with a lack of character uniqueness. And the isekai trope also becomes a world-building mess. There are stories that just makes the character teleport and never explain the history or situation of the world he teleported to. One time they're in a town and the next thing they're in a forest with no in-between, no map, no anything, and they just learn along the way. And that to me is pretty lazy world building and makes the world uninteresting. The success of past isekais made unpassionate people ride this ongoing train, putting out half-ass animation and shit stories. Why would you adapt this trashy stuff instead of good mangas or light novels? Maybe that's one of the reasons why people hate isekais. It's flooding every anime season, and because of that, anything that seems good on the synopsis became a disappointment when they see that it's an isekai anime.
Isekai Dochu. You ever escape from the isekais?
Anyway, what's the point of this video again? Ah yes, how can isekai anime get away with anything? Okay, real talk. Regardless of what I said in the first half of this video, I think isekai is such a fun theme to tackle in storytelling. I mean, just look at Marvel and their multiverses. It carved a lot of great stories and concept that is cool to read or watch because of the another world or dimension concept. And that is no different with isekais. There are a lot of different types of storytelling in an isekai. There are adventure isekais, cooking isekai, farming isekais, and many more. Ideas from Earth being put on the fantasy world became interesting take on expanding knowledge or giving convenience to a world of swords and magic. And isekais can be blended in with many other genres: politics, drama, thriller, mechas, and many more. It is so fun to discover a good isekai stories, and I think most isekai fans will say the same. So what I'm saying is, isekai can do anything because it's such a huge canvas to draw. You can imagine anything you want. It accepts many what-if type of stories, and all in all, it's such a fun theme to watch. As an isekai fan myself, I hate that the isekai trope became a hype train that leads to terrible adaptations, and the bad reputation even to just the word isekai is frustrating. I really feel like there are a lot of good isekai animes that deserve more love and popularity but don't have it because of the isekai tag. Anyway, I think the isekai train will not be going away anytime soon, or even there's going to be a lot more. And personally, the next season of 2024 is going to be a pretty banger year for isekai. And yeah, I guess that's all that I want to talk about today. Hope you all enjoyed this video. This is my first ever video essay about things surrounding anime and stuff, so if you have some thoughts, leave a comment down below. And that's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you haven't already. More content coming soon, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.